Hello everybody and welcome to episode 36 of Competitive Magic with the Karnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me we have Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And Anthony Lee from Australia.
Hola.
We are all back together. So glad to finally talk to you about what we did a few weeks ago at the Pro Tour with the whole Karnies reunited for the first time after 4 years, I believe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I saw Anthony in the line to get the PT badges and stuff. And what was the first time I told you, Anthony?
Oh, yes, you were so kind, Mengu, you know. A lot of people will probably think you would expect to meet Andrea Mengucci and have it be a wonderful experience, but after seeing Mengu for the first time after 4 years, and you know, to put that in context, last time we saw each other was at the Modern Horizons PT, the first Modern Horizons PT. So I hadn't seen him for a while, and the first thing he said was, "Wow, Antonio, you look different." And then he pauses and says, "You look older." And I was like, "Yeah, no shit. Like what? I mean, that's how time works, Mengu."
Yeah, I know. I just didn't know what to say, and that was the first thing I said.
Very clearly.
Yeah, a natural thing.
Yeah, if any of you ever meet Mengu, either make sure that you keep up with him regularly, or just if it's too late, just never go back to him again. Or you'll regret.
Yeah, it's so strange because we talk to each other every day, but the face we don't see each. Yeah,
and you wonder why I don't bother getting a webcam.
No. Yeah.
No, but even Anthony's avatar is like a new photo, like yours and mine are like older, but Anthony's photo is actually newer. Like it's actually a new one from this year, so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it has the masks on, so it doesn't show everything.
I don't actually care about disease or anything like that. I just have the mask on so that people like Mengu can't attack my appearance, right? That's the actual reason, so.
It didn't work for you though, right? Did you? Like,
no, it doesn't really. It doesn't. It's Mengu's too strong.
Mengu's too strong.
But you returned home without any disease. It was all good. You had a great
I got really lucky because I think almost all the other Australians got COVID and I didn't. So
wow, really?
Play a diff, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the old days of flu PT, whatever it was called, like the proto flu, where a lot of people got sick after the convention or whatever.
Convention flu, yeah.
Yeah, but this time or in Philly, I don't remember having that in our group.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's still like a thing. I don't know. Maybe people are a little bit like, close to each other nowadays. I don't know, honestly.
Maybe they're more careful. I don't know. There's lots of possible explanations. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I wouldn't know.
Yet.
Wait. Karnies. So, how was the PT for you? So we talked about Javier's top 8 in last episode at length. If you haven't checked, episode 35, you can check it. What about you, Anthony? How did you do in Minneapolis?
I did acceptably. I went 9-7, so that's a very comfortable record, isn't it? So like, it's the one where you requalify just on the edge, so you're not like absolutely thrilled. Actually, I am kind of thrilled, but you know what I mean, right? Like, it's not like stop. But you're like, oh, this is nice. This is good.
Yeah, I want to say congratulations to Anthony here now. So congratulations, clap.
Yay! But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice record, I suppose. Yeah.
So that we can see Anthony again in few months in Barcelona.
Is it a few months? I guess it's a couple months. Yeah, it's not actually as far off as it would seem.
It's more than 2 months, but yeah, it's almost 2 months.
Yeah, so it's just a couple months. So that's good. Yeah. I was reasonably happy with the event. Yeah.
You won the right to purchase a flight to Barcelona from Perth. How does that sound?
It's kind of brutal, but it's okay. At least I get to book it now and not like after the RC, which would be horrendous. Because if I had qualified at the RC instead of the Pro Tour, I would have to book my flight and then like leave 3 weeks later. So I imagine that would be catastrophically expensive. So
yeah, no, just to put in perception, because us European, I think, are a little bit privileged by the fact that almost every flight is never more than 1,000. I want to say, maybe to go to Australia is 1,000 from here, but I don't know. Like to go to America, it's For me, it was like 800 to go to anywhere in Europe. There's Ryanair, so you can never spend too much. But to go from Australia to Europe for you was thousands of euros, thousands of dollars. It's crazy.
Yeah, because specifically, it's a very big tourist season in Spain, right? So it costs quite a bit. I think about 2,000 USD, and that's to book it now. So can you imagine how much it would cost to do it 3 weeks before the event?
Yeah, no, not the best timing for this RC for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of defers to the next one.
Well, I think in future that they will look. They've received the feedback and they seem responsive to it. So I think they will try to book RC dates with that type of travel arrangement in mind in future. So I don't think it'll happen too much in the future. It's just for this one, it's a little awkward.
Outside of the tournament, of course, 9-7. I believe that as much as it doesn't sound so great, our goal as professional Magic player is to keep the grind going, keep qualifying, and again, congratulations on achieving that. What about the whole weekend? Did you have anything stand out, any experience they want to share with the listeners?
Oh, that's tricky. I don't know. I have a lot of stories. You have to prompt me usually. Otherwise, I'll just go on forever. So, is there anything...
Other than the mac and cheese, that was a very good one. Mac and cheese was a very good part of the weekend.
Cheese, yes. We don't have these things where we're from. This probably sounds very strange to Americans, but, the concept of mac and cheese is... Well, it's very fascinating to a Spaniard and an Australian. And at some point, I figured out that I could ask for them to add tomato on top, which, in my opinion, makes it much, much better. And then that's pretty much what me and Javier ate. That's probably an exaggeration, but I mean, it's close enough to true that I'm willing to say it.
Wait, so explain again. So mac and cheese with tomato on top, but like raw tomato?
Yeah.
Just slices, like pieces of tomato.
It's like a lot of other things, like they just figured out how to make macaroni good. It's like, I don't know, like Italians came up with the original stuff like macaroni or pizza that Americans figure out how to make it better. Like, it's just another one of those things.
It's an improved recipe. The only difference, though, he was getting it for as a main course, and I was eating it as an appetizer. But other than that, we will be eating the same.
Sides,
yeah. The sizes are so large. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. I don't know. I got up to a lot of shenanigans. So it was good. We had a lot of fun in the house. I'm trying to think of anything in particular you might have wanted me to talk about, but I have no idea whether
you consolidated yourself as the official trickster of the team.
I'm not a trickster, though.
Yeah.
Nathan Stroyer is the official trickster of the team.
Yeah, on Thursday, Anthony and Nathan were kind of like a team of two people just going around, not harassing like in a funny way, everyone just joking around.
Tricking people into things, yeah.
Imagine this. Neither of us has ever tricked anybody in our lives. Yeah, I think that's the joke, right? Because neither of us has ever made a joke in our lives. So, we're both very straight edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
People.
Yeah.
And you have some stories, I think you have some. I mean, I know some. So you can start with the. I think I start with the beginning, I think. Also, you looked very happy when you 9-7, Mengu. Like, he was very happy, you can tell.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I remember I was watching a game of yours. No, sorry, I was looking for you, and you were just staring the void
that was
so long.
I was so...
And I was like... I was with Pivo then, and I told him, it can't just have gotten unlucky. Like, there must be something bigger, because, one couldn't react this much.
I think I've just never gotten that unlucky before. I was certain I would win, and it just absolutely broke me.
Yeah, it was round 14, right?
Yeah. This was the one where I thought I was super ahead, where my opponent didn't have anything except the Raise Left Transmogant in their graveyard, and I activated Reckoner Bankbuster 5 times, took 5 draw steps, ticked up Chandra 3 times, and ended up finding... At the end of it, I only had lands in play, 6 lands in my hand, and had casted Duress and a Go for the Throat, and then just died to the Razor Lash Transmogrant. So, I was just completely breaking. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten that unlucky before, but it's okay. And, Javier gave me a pep talk, and, it would be lovely to say, wow, Javier gave you a pep talk, and it turned around my tournament, and I was able to win the next match to requalify. But in reality, he did cheer me up, but I got paired to Blue White Soldiers the next round, so... honestly, Javier could probably have done nothing at all and it would have been fine. But it was nice of him anyway, you know.
Being useful, being useful, so it doesn't matter.
I don't usually get that upset. I don't remember ever being remotely close to that upset after just getting unlucky. But that was incredible.
I've never been used. I've never seen you that upset, and I've seen you losing too many finals. You know.
Yeah, even then I was just like, oh well, that sucked. You know, like there was that finals. I don't know if Mengu was there for this one. Javier wasn't there, but he was hearing about it online.
PTQ.
Yeah, the PTQ in Kyoto, where I was playing Godfarer's Gift, and because the cards were all in Japanese, and I didn't exactly know the text of the card, I didn't realize that Godfarer's Gift does not target. So I didn't realize that I could force my opponent to use their Graveyard Hate, and then mill myself, and if I hit any creature, kill them. So I just had to play out game 3 of an entire PTQ finals with like half my team watching me just not kill my opponent because I literally couldn't read my cards because they're in Japanese. And then I just sat there and waited to lose. It was an amazing experience, you know. But even then, like I was a bit upset then. But even then, I was like, oh well, that's on me for not knowing the cards, right? Like,
you know, it's mostly that event that made me always play with cards either in English or Italian. Right now,
that's a good lesson. Yeah, don't play with foreign cards. You never know.
That was a lesson that I absolutely did not take on board whatsoever. But
it's funny because it happened to you and you're still the one playing cards
it
in
never
wild
happened
languages.
again, so it's okay. But so that was my matches were good. I played against
what was your last match?
My last match? Oh yeah, that's right. My last match was against Pivo. That was fun.
Pivo.
Yeah. It was great because we were so happy that both of us had already gotten our 9th win. So like if it's me and Pivo that have to play for an invite, it's kind of terrible because someone has to die, right? But this way we're both already quite happy. For sure. It was wonderful to play against Pivo. Pivo's great. He's done so well from so little. I think it's really impressive.
Pivo once again qualifying to the next Pro Tour with what's the you probably guys already talked about this with other people, but like what's the world's situation? Because I heard a lot of people saying that if you qualify to 3 Pro Tours, you make day 2 all of 3, it's chances that you qualify at large.
There's a good chances. You need a certain number of adjusted match points. You need to be in the top 32 or have a record equal to the 32nd place. So invites do pass down. So the top 32 players on adjusted match points that have not already qualified for Worlds then get an invite to Worlds, basically.
Yeah.
So I think Julian Wellman, who is our resident mathematician, suggested that it was about 45 that he thinks would be safe or that would get to Worlds. I don't remember, but I think it's 45 to get to Worlds if I recall correctly. Don't quote me on that, but that's if you get enough match wins across all 3 Pro Tours, you qualify for Worlds. Yes, and Eva's done rather well. So I mean, if you show off to all 3. That's doing pretty well, isn't it? So
for sure.
Yeah, I feel like he has a very good shape. Like it's hard to know because obviously it's a leaderboard, so it depends on other people. Mm-hmm. But it feels like everyone that did like there's like 2 good PTs or 3 like day 2s, whatever. That should be enough. Also day 2 is it's not the same if you go day 2 and then 0-8 to day 2, and if you go like 8-8.
Yeah.
But I think like 3 9-7s or so should be enough.
What about 6-10? How do you rank that record?
Is that what you went? Maybe did you go 6-10?
I went 6-10, yes, proudly. Winning...
But you got 6 wins, though.
Notably winning the last one to go 6-10.
Oh, man.
So there was a point where it was 5-10.
Oh,
I mean...
That's
6-10 is still like something, no?
Honestly, the last matches were so fun. I was playing against all these guys that, were already dead for anything, just playing for fun. Yeah, just, at the highest stake possible you can think of, but the lowest table, it's very fun.
Well, that's something. I just remembered a funny story from one of my matches. I didn't play very well in this match overall, I would say, but I don't think it made much of a difference anyway. But, that's not the point of the story. So I played against Gabriel Nassif in the last round of day 2 draft. So what round is that? 11? Is that right? So I got cut during the draft, and when I say I got cut, I don't mean the person on my right was in my colors or whatever. I mean I literally cut myself while I was sleeving my draft deck. On the sleeves.
Wow.
So I was a little clumsier. So while I was shuffling my hand, because all Magic players are contractually obligated to shuffle their hand incessantly, right? If you ever stop shuffling the cards in your hand, you get kicked out of the tournament hall. That's somewhere in the IPG, I think. Anyway, so I'm shuffling my hand and I accidentally drop a card and immediately pick it back up. And then Nassif plays Kenra Spellspear, the 2/2 with prowess. And then I say, oh, well, I guess since you know about it, I have to cast it now. And then I play Final Flourish to kill his Kenra Spellspear. And then a few turns later, I play Deadly Derision, destroy target creature, make a treasure on, I don't know, some larger creature. And he says, that was the card you dropped. It wasn't the Final Flourish that I dropped, it was a Deadly Derision. I tried to cover for my mistake by being like, oh, well, guess I have to play it now. And he realized that, it was what I'd done when I played the card that he thought that I dropped, which was the card that I dropped, not the one that I claimed that I dropped. And he's like, oh, you tricked me. This Anthony Lee character, he tricked me. My eyesight's not what it used to be. So I got to play that little trick on Nassif. It's not clear to me whether it actually worked or not, but I doubt it had any consequence. But
who won the match?
Nassif, because I played terribly and his deck was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think I actually won the game that I played terribly, but
But if you won the game, then it worked. If you lost, then it didn't work.
No, it was awful. Like, he mulliganed to 5, and I just made a horrendous attack, not thinking about Invasion of Regatha plus another thing, and I was like, that was like the only way he could win. Like, why did I just give him that chance? Like, it's horrible.
No.
Anyway, it's fine. I won anyway, but apparently that's how it works. That's how it works for Mengu. It wasn't terrible because I won anyway, but it was terrible.
Okay, so if you won anyway, it's okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so later in the day, at the end of the day, I'm just sitting in the player lounge, waiting for stuff to finish, stuff to wrap up. And we were watching coverage, and I don't know if you watch the coverage stream, because it's kind of weird. People talk to you about stuff that happens on the coverage stream because they watch it from home. But when you're in the tournament hall, it's not that easy to watch the coverage, right? Because you're busy for most of the rounds because you're playing.
Even when you're not playing, you're kind of chatting with people.
Yeah, yeah. You're at the thing, so you don't actually watch stream. But I watched them, and then I saw. I don't know if you saw, but they scroll through all of the players at the on the bottom of the screen. So it starts from 1 Javier Dominguez. Which is pretty nice.
Yay.
And then it starts from Javier, and then it goes down. So they have a slide with all of Team Handshake on it with the top 4, and then they go to the rest of the top 8. But then they keep going. It was it was quite strange because I thought they would stop. I thought they were just showing you the top 8, but then they just keep going. So you go through them. You go through all the people who top 16, all the people who just missed, and then it just keeps going. And at some point, it's almost like it's a pretty brutal parade because you start getting to like the 3-5s. You're like, I don't know if we need to do this, guys. We could probably cut this here. But so I was watching that. And I was sitting on the couch, and Huey Jensen was in the middle of the couch, and he was talking to Nassif on his right. And as the names were going past, they were like, "Oh, there's so and so that we know." And at some point, Huey was like, "Oh, there's Anthony Lee at 9-7," and Nassif tells him, "It's a funny story. I played against him," and then he tells a story of what had happened in our match. And then he says, I was thinking about whether he would try to pull that on me, and then, I don't know if how many viewers would have seen me or seen Huey, but we are very differently sized people, right? So yeah, Huey's a giant, right? He's very, very tall, and I'm a very, very not tall. So then I realize that Nassif doesn't realize that I'm on the other side of Huey, so I get to jump out from behind him and be like, nah, I don't think he would, So that was fun. And he said he said, oh wow, I'm glad I didn't finish my story with wow, what a piece of shit or anything like that. So it was fun. That was fun. That was, just to be clear though, that's the only time I've ever tricked anybody that entire trip. I never played any other jokes on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very good. I mean, I love this story, by the way.
I would have loved if the screen of players would have continued, so that we arrived with the actual last one of day 2.
It does.
They
just
do,
keep
right?
going.
It does.
It goes all the way to last place.
Yeah, everyone gets to show his name, their name on their flag. I don't think it's a bad thing though. You can just
I think a lot of people would still appreciate it. Like, just to be recognized as being part of the Pro Tour, but.
Exactly.
I mean, also for some people, it must be so brutal. Can you imagine like losing your win and in for day 2 or whatever, and then just every time you see that, the ticker tape go past, you're like, oh no, this, oof,
But also, can you imagine it's the first and only PT you will ever play, and you don't do well because you have no time or whatever. But you get your moment of like you're shown there with the flag, and
that's
nice.
I think that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
it's also pretty good if you're top of Swiss. It's pretty good for that guy.
Not really. I mean, it's cool, but I think it's you're already happy enough because you're doing well in the PT.
That's true. I mean, I think it would make for a great screenshot if you can just screenshot like the top 4, because it was in sets of 4, so it was set up perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone played Anthony's deck. Anthony's Fireball.
Light up the stage tech.
Let up the Anthony, yeah.
Yeah, that ended up knocking Mengu out or whatever in the PDQ. Is that right? Is that what happened? Or it may killed you in the last round of Swiss or something? I don't really remember.
That's true. Yes, that died to the.
So there was a rule about the Fireball, and it was like, what was it, Anthony? Like, if we do well, it was your idea. And if
so like I think on the way to like dinner sometime, Nate was like, whose idea was this anyway? And I was like, well, it was actually mine, but if it turned out to suck, we can just say it's Tristan's. I mean, no one's gonna. I mean, it's perfectly plausible, right? Tristan adds all kinds of like. Well, they're often good, but they look pretty questionable. I remember.
Tristan played a card against me that I've never seen before in my life.
Yeah, I bet I know because I know because I remember when we were looking at deck, during the open deck listing, I played against Jakub Toth, and he was like, "Rotten Reunion, is that the Tristan card?" So
yes, he knew. It was Tristan's part. It was Tristan's idea. It was probably Tristan's idea.
That's why I knew it was totally covered with the light up the night, because I was like, if it sucks, I just have someone to blame it on.
Yeah, no. Against me, he played a 2-mana 3/1 with Blitz that when he dies makes a treasure.
Another Tristan card.
Another Tristan card. Yes. You weren't here for this, Mengu, but I tried repeatedly to put this card in decks for the set championship Streets of New Capenna, and Javier just bullied me relentlessly for it. He was not having any of it. He was not okay with it.
It was better this time though. This time when Tristan played against me, I was like really impressed with the card. I was like, well, this card maybe it's not so bad.
I was trying
to.
I was trying to do stuff with Obnixilis with it, the adversary. This time it just made more sense. It's just like a regular card. Like you weren't dependent on another card to make this good. And also this time, Rivetier's Requisitioner looked better, because we hated Graveyard Trespassers so much. They're like, well, I guess this guy isn't Graveyard Trespasser, so I mean, it can't be that bad, right? Like.
Yeah, that's why it looked good, maybe.
I honestly think
was like it's a trespasser that costs 1 less and gives you something when it dies.
Yeah, I mean, a 2-mana 3/1 is just better than a 3-mana 3/3, and
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was that bad. Like, I don't think it's that close to be like.
No, I would totally consider playing it. As Tristan would say, it's totally fine.
Totally fine. But I didn't realize like we played like obviously Return Reunion was a Tristan card. I loved it, but I didn't connect.
That's a very interesting. I mean, it was a good fight. I think it made a Reanimator matchup quite a bit better, honestly.
No, absolutely. No, it was a good fight. I just didn't realize it was like the pure Tristan card. Like we just all played.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rotten Reunion was very good when I played it in the PTQ. Just discarding into Fable, having it there against the Corotio Jigs.
Yeah,
it's really cool to have players with those ideas.
Is that it was a graveyard? It's a graveyard hate card that they can't interact with, because everything else, like Hearth, can be abraded, and everything else could be duressed. You can't even duress Rotten Reunion. So like, if I draw it, then like you don't get your graveyard thing. That's the end of the story.
Yep.
So
yeah,
it's awesome.
Thank you, Tristan.
That's a good card even in Pauper to dodge Chainer's Edict from the blue-black terror deck.
Yep, it also eats Invoke Despair, so that's just Chainer's Edict of standard, I suppose.
Liliana, yeah.
Rotten Reunion standard staple.
Can you
format superstar?
That can be really tough spots. Can you imagine? You have 5 mana, you play Sheoldred, pass with a mana up, they slam Invoke, and you're like, in response, I make a zombie.
I mean, maybe it happened to someone, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very plausible that it happened to someone.
We're like 14 players playing Rotten Reunion, so some of us, I think, even played 2. some Tristan
yes.
Believers.
I think some people played through it, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll play the card because we all thought it was good. So I mean, I will not be surprised that that might have happened to someone.
Speaking of Standard, there has been a pretty important announcement a few days ago. Why don't we try to cover what was that announcement about? I wrote some notes. Maybe I can read those notes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe you can. That would be like a good start.
All right. There will be one scheduled BNR announcement window in the late summer, and most of the changes for format will happen then. So there will be a scheduled ban list date. They did this in the past, and then they moved away from like sudden announcements, and now they're back to just announcing announcements again.
I think this is good. I think it was a huge mistake when they moved away from the scheduled announcements, because what that meant was that people were just calling for bans constantly, because
the time every Monday.
Usually we only had to put up with it like at certain points in the year, and then the noise just became incessant. I think it was predictably wrong to move away from this, so I'm glad that they were willing to go back on it and go back to what worked, which seems like kind of a pattern, to be honest, but here we are, and I'm happy.
Yeah, and they also announced a BNR for Standard on the 29th of May, which will probably see Fable of the Mirror Breaker and maybe something else banned from Standard. What is your idea, or do you have any ideas?
You go first, Anthony.
Well, okay, so first of all, the reason that it's then and not earlier is because of the Arena Championship. They did not want to interfere with people's testing that had already been happening for that, and which is reasonable. I think that it would be a big mistake to ban only Fable of the Mirror Breaker, so they should ban more cards as well. So I think Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a little too strong for Standard in general, but as far as big bad cards go, it's one of the least offensive that I remember, because it doesn't really oppress anything. Fable of the Mirror Breaker tends to enable things more than it prevents things from seeing play. And I also think that Fable mirrors are generally enjoyable. So like Fable itself tends to spoil some of the mirrors, but the decks that you can play because of Fable are quite fun to play against each other. Like I think these Black-Red mirrors and Grixis mirrors are generally, pretty enjoyable, and there's like a lot of skill expression available in them. I feel like that's much less true for a lot of other mirror matches that would be a lot more popular if Fable alone was banned. So I think if they remove Fable, they need to remove some other things alongside it. Like, I would much rather play Fable mirrors than Rafine mirrors. So if they only ban Fable, and then we all play Rafine mirrors, that would be horrible. I think that would be much worse. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying they should ban Rafine as well, which would be kind of strange because, it did horribly at the PT, didn't win any RCs, and then gets banned. Like, it seems so strange, but I don't know. Maybe as long as it's not only Fable. I don't know, Javier. What do you think?
Yeah, first, I think the schedule, it seems to be like the case for all the formats that are not standard. Like they will revisit all the formats once a year. That's what I understood. Is that correct?
No, not quite. So standard will specifically be revisited the most in that 1 year. There will be additional ban windows for ban list changes 3 weeks after each set releases, and in those ones, it's more likely that they will revisit eternal formats that get affected by standard sets. So,
well, that's like the Oko window, right? Like that's the
Oko window, but they're going to use the Oko window more aggressively for non-rotating formats than
that makes sense, because if there's an Oko on a Hogak, if it's a problem in 2 weeks in Legacy, it's gonna be a problem like forever.
Yeah, so they'll just remove it quickly. So it's not quite that way, but
I wonder if this will become like, something like we will ban something every year. It doesn't look likely,
I think
but
it's quite likely. I honestly think that's what people want. Like,
so it's like there's sort of rotation every year in Modern on Legacy. Like every year.
Yeah, probably. Like, Modern has kind of stayed the same for so long. I think they kind of need to.
Yeah, this could be good.
I think so.
And the standard one, so these last months, I feel like I'm starting to get the Fable better. And at this point, I just like the card being there. It's a little bit of what Anthony says, but also I just don't think it spoils the mirror as much. Like, I just think it's probably the best card or whatever. but I don't think it's necessarily going to be banned. They will ban things before it was not the arena tournament, but I don't know the win rates. But the PT was not exactly dominated by Fable, as much as it might look. And we could see an arena championship where it's not that dominating anyway. And if that, I'm not sure. Like there will be a ban announcement, but I'm not convinced there's gonna be a ban at all.
I am convinced that they will ban Fable, but I'm not convinced that it's correct to do so. I think they will because so many people are just sick of the card. I think the card actually has. There's a lot of reasons I would not ban it, I think, or be very cautious about banning it, but I think at this point people just don't enjoy it. I mean, I felt the same way about Teferi Time Reveler, which actually has a lot of interesting play patterns to it, right? Yeah. But like people just were sick of his face, so the card was going to go. And at some point, I mean, if it gets more people who want to play Standard, then I guess I'm okay with that, right? Because I'm probably going to enjoy Standard either way. So even if I think Standard would be better with Fable in it, which I'm not sure is the case, but I think it's possible. But, I mean, if everyone is just not going to play it because they just don't want to see Fable, then okay, then it has to go. Like, that's just the reality.
But Teferi is, like, Teferi and Fable maybe have a similar spot, but it was the opposed thing where Teferi actually cancelled decks and
I think Fable's even less offensive.
He's unplayable. Like, Fable is like the opposite, actually. Like, Fable enables deck.
You
could not play Reanimator
if
it was not for Fable.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of decks you could not play because of Fable. At this point, I'm like kind of fine with Fable. I think there will, even if you have Fable, there would always be a better card.
Yeah, there's always going to be something, standard. Right? And I feel think,
yeah,
go on.
So go ahead.
I don't know. It's like
yeah, like it's just I'm saying the same with Anthony. Like it's a very good best card. Like compared to like I don't know Wilderness Reclamation, or Fire's Dimension or whatever.
Or what?
Like I think she already. Yeah, like those cards are much worse best card in the format. I think a card like these, or other cards like we had before, like Rogue Refiner, which maybe is a better comparison for Fable, because maybe it's like a more similar card, and there's like it dominates the matchups where it's good, but also some matchups it's bad. Like if you're playing against aggro, you have Fable on the draw, it's a bad card. So like I think it's fine, but for me, if they ban Fable on the best card is like also something like just Ataraxa, I think it's dangerous as well. Again, I think the format could go very wrong.
Yeah,
very fast.
That's what I'm worried about. And like something that I really wanted to say just now as it crossed my mind is there's always going to be a best card, and I really want people to be cognizant of that. So does that mean that we're going to ban something every year? Which I mean, okay, if that's the case, as long as we're all on the same page there. But it's not like Fable is an exceptional, the most busted card they've ever printed or anything like that. It's just the best card right now, and people are always going to want the best card to be banned now that we've set the paradigm for good cards to be the subject of that kind of talk nowadays. So
okay, so one question I have for you guys: if let's say you have to ban one or two cards besides Fable, which one of them would you ban?
Wait, do we ban it alongside Fable or instead of Fable?
We ban Fable and we ban one or two, maximum two more cards, preferably one. Which ones would you guys ban, Mengu and Anthony?
I'll let Mengu go first.
Oh no, the pressure. So I saw my teammate Arne Ushinbeth, talking to him a lot. He was of the idea of banning Fable and Reckoner's Bankbuster. Reckoner Bankbuster, I believe, maybe I'm mistaken, but it was in like 80% of the decks of this PT.
Is that a good metric though? Like people always bring up.
I understand. Maybe it's not a good metric, but it's a metric, and so maybe that's a card I could get alongside. But honestly, personally, I don't mind just banning Fable. Like I listen to you guys talk a lot, and I think that's okay. Like Esper is a deck that, sure, it's a great deck and everything, but at the end of the day, there's like extremely good card against it, just removal spells, and probably like mono white or this domain decks can be alright against it. I feel like for me, it's ban Fable, but I'm sure that you guys play a lot more, so I don't mind listening to you.
I think, to speak to the point in general, like a lot of people use diversity or how often a card is played as a mark for whether a card should be banned, and I don't think it's very helpful because the cards are often not used the same way in different decks for a start, and they don't necessarily homogenize gameplay. So people used to talk this way about cards like Bone Crusher Giant, but Bone Crusher Giant didn't play exactly the same way in every deck, and it's not like just because a deck has Bone Crusher Giant that it plays the same way. So it never really seemed like a problem to me that there was Bone Crusher Giants everywhere, because they go in different decks. Like, some of them are control decks, some of them are aggressive, most of them were mid-range. There was a combo deck with it. Like, it's not that bad if, like, that card is everywhere. And Reckoner Bankbuster is like that. It's not like every Reckoner Bankbuster deck is the same kind of deck, or that it even uses Reckoner Bankbuster the same way. So even if it's in, a very high percentage of decks, I don't think that's a problem. Like, the real reason that we should have bans is to try to fix gameplay experiences, right? And if Reckoner Bankbuster is a card with diverse enough play patterns that it doesn't homogenize gameplay, then I would be very surprised that it would make sense to ban it. In terms of... So I wouldn't ban Reckoner Bankbuster for that reason, I suppose, but I felt that the point in general was more important. What would I ban other than Fable? I guess I would say Plaza of Heroes and something else, probably. I think it's... I'm not saying that it's clear that Esper would be the best deck if you banned Fable, but I'm saying that if it was the best deck, that would be very unfun. Like, the format would just become about winning the die roll or whatever, which is how I feel Esper mirrors get decided most of the time. So I would want to make sure that Esper is not the best deck, and I think Plaza is probably a better ban than Rafine in that regard, because I think Plaza is a super powerful card anyway, and might be liable to create other problems in future. I don't know if I would ban anything else.
It's an interesting topic. I think that you could argue for a lot of different points. Like, you could argue about Invoke, for example, because Invoke is the type of card like Teferi, where Invoke basically soft ban Planeswalkers from the format, which is something that's not very decidable for a format like this. Like, your all the enchantments or Planeswalkers are immediately soft banned because of the best deck having Invoke, right?
Well, not enchantments, but Planeswalkers for sure. Like, there have been so many sweet Planeswalkers we thought were going to be great, and then the first time...
They're not.
Yeah, in testing, someone cast Invoke, we're like, never mind, it's gone.
The only one that's good is because it played well with Invoke, So Invoke kind of applies so much. You could argue about Invoke being banned, right? I think.
Okay.
You could also make a point for Atraxa even. So the format doesn't become just a purely ramp fest, because if Atraxa is the best thing to do, it's similar to Esper being the best thing to do, right? Like,
that's true.
It's just it's a direct experience. I think there are some offenders, like there's some cards you could target there. Those are the ones I think, like, just Esper, Atraxa, and Invoke Despair are probably the ones that I will consider if I had to choose. Probably Invoke, actually, just because
I think it's going to be quite substantial.
Pattern.
So I think we were only talking about like 1 or 2 bans, or maybe even 3, but I did read somewhere that their intention is to make sure that the cards in Wilds Eldraine are not stifled. So I think we might see a lot more bans than we might expect. Like, it could be more than 3 cards.
There's a lot of bans. Yeah, if there's 3 cards, if there's more than 3 cards, I will expect Invoke to go for sure. Like, I think Invoke actually resembles a Teferi experience, where there's easily 50 cards in the standard, like even decks that are just you cannot play because you die to Invoke. Like,
that's a really good
She already
point.
is the only big creature surviving on that, I think Invoke might get the axe. I will be very surprised if Buster does, for what Anthony said. It's just like, it's very comparable to Bone Crusher. It's just like a different card in different decks, and it's also like the card plays very differently in different games. That it's, I don't feel like I'm playing the same game whenever I play against Buster. It's a... it could be Van Basten also if they want to just change things for the sake of changing them. But I think it's good to have a card like Bankbuster, so also colors have access to, grindy games or whatever, because otherwise then a lot of strategies like white. I don't like mono white existing in the format, but I think it's good for, it's fine that these decks can exist. And I think if without Bankbuster, decks like this, or even semi-aggro decks that want to be able to grind some games while also attacking, I think Bambuster enables those decks. I think if the goal is to have a diverse metagame, banning Bambuster surely goes against it, right? Like, Bambuster enables archetypes. So, and Invoke stifles them, so I think I will go for Invoke probably. Or
I didn't think of Invoke at all, but that's a really good point. I think now I think they probably should and will ban Invoke.
I just
changed my mind completely after. Like, as you kept talking, I was thinking, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. Okay, now I think Invoke's definitely going. Like, so I guess Fable, Invoke, and something else. So maybe 1 or 2 other things then. Okay. Yeah, because...
Like, if I could ban one card only, I would actually ban Invoke over Fable.
I agree.
If I had to make a choice for one.
Because that's actually the card that the most times we just say, oh, you can't play it, gets invoked. Like, we've said... I'm just thinking about how many times we've said that over the last, year. It's a lot.
A lot. But we don't say, I cannot play this against Fable, you know?
Yeah, we never said that.
And we never say we cannot play this on Buster, but we say we cannot play this in Vogue.
We did say that about Bankbuster, because we said literally only one card, Liliana, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
that's...
in general, yeah,
true,
we don't
correct.
say that. But in
Vogue, in Vogue Despair, we just kept saying, even decks, you know, like this deck is cool, but
you know,
it gets invoked.
All the lots cool
that's my
enchantments.
approach.
Yeah,
exactly. That's my opinion on the bannings. I don't know what they will do, but those are my...
That's so funny, because it's like, it's not that powerful a card in general, like in terms of like pure power level, but in terms of what it does to the format, it's like, it really does shut out a lot of things. That's very true.
Yeah, and that's, you know, I mean, that definitely stifles some decks that coexist. So yeah, we'll see what they do.
Wow.
I mean, obviously,
this is going to be so good, because now I'm convinced they're definitely going to ban Fable, and then they're going to ban Invoke, and then we can point back to this and be like, look at Javier, he big brained it, he called it, he knew they were going to ban Invoke, and it was a good ban. I just know it now. This is good. I'm glad you called it.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying my thoughts, you know. Like if it was in charge, or it was like,
just totally
you know, if I was commanded, like being a committee for standard bannings or whatever, that will be my input as someone that has played a lot of standard.
Now I'm gonna be mad if they don't. So
I mean, it doesn't take too much to have you mad, so it doesn't mean anything.
I've never gotten angry in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about you being angry. So anyway, we also Mengu had some things revealed about the seasons, right?
Yeah, they also announced the new RCQ seasons. So I think they've already said that the next one will be. So this RCQ season is still like kind of all over the places. For example, the only store that runs RCQ in my region only has Modern. I'll go to an RCQ. I'll go to an RCQ in June because I'm still not qualified to the next RC, so I have to grind the RCQ. But the next one will be fixed and will be all Pioneer. The one after, it will be all Modern, and the one after, so we're talking about January to March 2024, will be Standard. So Paper Standard must be played in Paper if you want to qualify to the Regional Championship.
Yeah, and the regional championship itself will be Standard as well, obviously.
Yes.
Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Opinions on this?
I mean, this is what we used to do in the past, right? In the past, when we played PTQs, it was like this.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that, yeah. I think it's cool.
I mean, they've specifically said that they're trying to cover all of the formats when they can. Like, so I think a lot of years, it's just going to be Pioneer, Modern, Standard. I would like to see a little more Standard and a little less of either of the other two, but you know, maybe they'll do that eventually. But I mean, I think they kind of want to as well, right? Like they want to support Standard, and I think the best way is via competitive play, because I think Standard more than the other formats is tied specifically to high level tournament play. Like I think people are happy to play Modern casually. People are less likely to play Standard casually, and more competitive players tend to enjoy Standard more. I mean, I think the more competitive you get, the bigger a divergence you get in terms of preferences to the average player. I mean, if you ask like the most competitive Pro Tour players, they all love Alchemy, and we both know that's not the most popular opinion in like from the compared to the invested player base as a whole, right? So I don't know. I mean, it depends on which audiences they're trying to cater to, but I think that the audience for Standard and the audience for high level tournament play overlap more than for the other formats. But I think they can support formats like Modern in other ways. Like I think GPs, for example, are a tournament circuit that makes a lot of sense as like makes more sense to run as Modern than Standard, for example. So I think like Pro Tours should lean towards Standard, and other events like LMS or GP or whatever the equivalent of large standalone events are should be more like Modern. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what they do. But I'm pretty happy with what they're planning to do so far. It makes sense, and yeah, it's again kind of a return to the way it worked before, and it did work before, so why not?
Right. It was like this for forever. Actually, so I agree with your point. Like, you know, the classic like archetypical pro or whatever, like the more competitive community tend to like Standard more, and Modern is like more casual or whatever. But I think it's a good idea to also have this Modern PTs because it's a way to like bind these two together. You know, like it's a kind of tournament where you have the pro players playing Modern, but also more casual players can see the pros playing their formats, you know, and their deck. And that's, I think that's a very good nexus to have between like, you know, the two type of players. And I think this kind of tournaments actually does a very good job. It also levels the field in that regard. You know, like if you're having like a PT where you're playing Modern and you just played your deck for 10 years or whatever, and you're a massive expert of the deck, you're good. You know, even if you're like a little bit less experienced or whatever. In a Standard, it's so much hard to actually break through. And I think that makes these tournaments a little bit more accessible for people outside like the, you know, already established players in the circuit or whatever. I think that's why they actually work. I do believe, as you like, having 3 PTs, one being Modern, one being Standard, one being Pioneer, is a little bit too low on the Standard side. Like what we have in this year. I would prefer them to have more like Standard, a little bit more Standard, like maybe, you know, Standard, and then Modern, and then Standard, Pioneer, or whatever. But I think it's good that they keep, you know, I think that would be good. But I mean, that would be one PT of Modern every 2 years. But I personally like Pioneer and Modern, so it's fine. Like, I mean, I don't mind playing those formats as well, but I prefer Standard for PTs because it's also like kind of more rewarding for testing them in a way. Yeah, but like, you know, I think this is going to be fine. Let's see how it works. It also depends on what Wotc is going to be, because if Wotc is like mostly Standard, you know, that will mean, let's say you have 4 PT level events, right? Like you have 3 PTs in a Wotc. If it's like Standard, like if Wotc is a Standard and it's then Standard, Modern, Pioneer, isn't like as perfect as you can be, like, you know, in terms of distribution.
I kind of forgot about Worlds, which is kind of
qualified.
Funny,
so yeah,
so
I think if you have 4 events and you have 2, 1, and 1, that's pretty good.
Okay, I guess it makes
I actually
sense.
hope, you know. Yeah, I think that would be good. So let's see. You know, you can also do like this year, if assuming Standard is Wotc is Standard, it's like Pioneer Standard, Modern Standard, and then like Pioneer Standard, then Modern Standard, and that's just very good. I think it's a good balance between all these 3 competitive formats. And I mean, you know, I think the idea, the whole structure looks good to me.
Yeah, I could see that working out very well. So I guess we kind of have to have them fill in the blanks a little bit, but I don't know. I'm optimistic. I mean, they've been doing well so far, right? Like, no reason to think that it's not going to continue this trend. So
yeah, now let's hope to qualify so we can, you know, experience the trend.
Yeah, well, that's the scary part. We have to re-qualify. I mean, I think you already qualified, right? But you're qualified for the next 3 or 4.
So yeah, I was wondering about this today because I think I'm qualified for PT Barcelona and then PT 1 and 2 for next season.
That's correct. Yes.
But but am I qualified for PT 3? I don't know.
I don't think so. No.
Because it's three less PTs, right? Qualify for the 4th. That is correct.
Yes. So
this is PT 2 of the season, right? So when 2, 3, 1 are the so it's only so I'll be qualified until PT 2 next season. Have like 3 more. That's correct.
And you just have to do fine in them, which, you know, somehow I have a feeling that I think you'll be okay.
We'll see. Yeah, so now I realize. This morning I was a little bit confused. I got asked, but now I was very sleepy. So yeah, okay. So yep. I mean, I'm still good. I'm happy. You know, 3 more. So.
Yeah, it's excellent.
All right, so this was the announcement, right, Mengu? There's nothing else to talk about the announcement. We can just
I would say we exhausted the topic of the announcement. Yeah, and maybe we can go through. We can go through a little bit of talking about formats. Actually, talking about some of the tournaments that happened over the weekend. Which, of course, the one that we look at are the challenges. But you know, we had.
We can start with Anthony's favorite format. Do you like that?
Yeah, I want to start.
We can start with Anthony's format.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that we're going to talk about Standard, but that's okay.
No, Modern.
Also, we shouldn't talk about Standard anyway, because of the Arena Championship. But yeah, go on.
I was going to start by congratulating with our two friends, our 2 teammates for the RC Athens, which are Martos and Makuto. They both crushed the Pioneer Challenge, which, by the way, was 150 players. For you top 8, you get 25 chests. These tournaments, people play them for the love of the game, for sure.
Yeah, they're not exactly great, but they're also cool tournaments, and the level is, you know, I think there's kind of, it's not low because there's a lot of players playing for the RCs, so it's like bigger tournaments, but also the levels kind of higher in my experience playing them before the RCs. I don't know if you agree with this.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the standard one was super large, and this is the same. Like it is so large because of the RC. A
lot of names I recognize on that challenge, though. Like, you know, we have Classico Pumpa
in the top 4. Ukumba.
Claudio winning it with Nifis
awesome.
once again. There's a lot of names. Yeah, Makuto's Martas, also Ginger. That's
Ginger
quite
came
some
second.
names for...
Yeah, it was very cool. There was only one Pioneer
Claudio
challenge
won,
because of the bug. The Magical Line had some bugs this weekend. We only had 3 modern challenges. So there wasn't that much time for Blue Red Murktide to shine because we only had 3 challenges, unfortunately.
How many challenges do you need for Murktide to shine? Because I feel like the trial period is well over.
At least 4.
How did it do this weekend, Mango? I'm just wondering. Totally innocent question. Just wondering.
Well, this weekend, out of the 24 decks that made the top 8, we had 1 top 8 competitor. Congratulations to, drum roll, Mad2 for keeping the Murktide torch high.
Wow, that's a fantastic performance for such a highly played deck that's supposed to be really good. That's really strong. I'm glad I asked that question.
Okay.
You mean the best deck in the format, Anthony?
That's
you mean
okay.
The very best deck?
It is all in the plans. It is all in the plans to keep the deck low so that it can be the best deck for the Pro Tour Barcelona.
Ah, okay. This also keeps it safe from bans. That's very smart.
That's smart.
They'll never ban Rayman this way.
Will I be able to play any modern PTQ? No, right? It's just sealed. Is that correct?
Idea.
For what?
If I don't qualify to the Pro Tour, the PTQ are only sealed, right?
I'm not sure. You'll have to check the event schedule, but
yeah, I have no idea. Also,
we are not Europe. I'm sure there'll be some modern event around. There's no way they're going to run an event in Europe and not have something.
No, yeah, but I only play the PTQs, so I don't know.
Oh, that's fair.
I will keep on grinding. Get back. I'll go to Valencia. Sorry, not Valencia, Barcelona. In 2 weeks with Javier to do the testing for the RC Athens. So
for the RC Athens,
yeah.
That's good.
That's Pioneer.
Make it work.
I see.
That's gonna be cool.
It was good to have you back, Mango. There, it was good to chat with you, and too bad you didn't win too many matches, but it was still a good experience to chat with you in the PT.
I won 6.
It was great to see Mengu again. Because it was surprising because I hadn't seen him for ages, and when I saw him, I thought, "Wow, he looks older than last time." But I'm a nice person, so I kept my mouth shut and I didn't say it to his face. So
I had a long
You could have
beard.
waited for like 1 show or 2, 1 episode or 2 before. I mean, you can use it also again after a few.
I had a long beard. I would have accepted it if you said that.
It looks good though. I think the beard looks good on you.
Now I cut it entirely. So GG beard.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, I had many comments.
So Marte Regen dominates Modern again. That's it. That will be the headlight.
No, I wanna stray away from the title because then people just also every Friday I still stream Murktide and people. I remember we had the title like that, like the demise of Murktide, something like that, and people came in the chat and they were like, "Oh, wasn't Murktide dead? Why are you still playing this?" Something like that. So,
are you sure it wasn't me? Because I've probably said that to you many times, actually. I'm probably going to say it again this week, by the way, just so you know.
Tomorrow morning, it's Friday, and I will be streaming Murktide.
Yeah, so I'll set an alarm.
That's a chance.
It's fine. I'm doing it right now. I'm literally setting an alarm.
Set the alarm,
right now
exactly.
To tell Mangu,
the alarm is,
why are you playing this garbage deck? It's literally never won a match. Ever.
But it did one match.
One person torpedoed with it.
Yeah, that's more.
Probably only played mirrors. I don't know.
Could be.
That's probably how it happened.
You are so mean, Anthony. But other than that, there's not too many there's the usual suspects like creativity. I mean, Barn won the challenge.
No, I think
Barn's always
there is definitely a new thing this weekend.
Deck, though. Yeah.
It's there's
two new things.
Yeah, it's the skills player. Like there's the challenge with 3 skills players in the top 8. One of them being aspiring Spike as well.
Yeah, that's
kind of big news. Wild. Why didn't you just lead with that?
Scales is the biggest, the new Mortite, maybe.
Yeah, Artist Scales got this new card called, what's the exact name of the Ozolith? The name is Ozolith the Shattered Spire. And that card is very good because it's an additional hardened skills as well as pumping, a very strong activate ability for it.
Wait, and this card alone made it to 3 Hardened Scales decks.
I mean, it's modern. It's all about fashions. This is the fashion of the week. More people played it, and it top 8'd more than the other
But this deck
weekends.
was like, it was nowhere before, right? And out of nowhere, like, the 3 showed up? Like, you're telling me there's 1 Murktide across all the challenges and 3 Scales in one top 8?
Yeah, I'm gonna...
There's also one thing, Anthony, though. Like, this kind of decks, I want to say one thing about this, because it's not only this card being that good, which is very good, of course, in this deck. I mean, Scales is a deck that depends on Scales, so having 1 more Scales, it's an important thing. But also, this is the type of deck where the last card of the deck was so bad that you're not replacing a 6 for a 10.
That's true.
You were replacing a 2 for a 10. It's like this deck was like missing something to replace like the worst, the worst cards, because now they don't play, like some of them don't play like cards, like I don't know, the Worker, like they're very good cards, and now they play better cards also.
I mean, that's a very good point. That's well worth thinking about. That probably applies a lot in Modern, especially, doesn't it? That makes sense.
Yeah, that's my impression on this. Like, obviously the card's great, but like, I think it's also probably like someone. I mean, 3 in the top 8 out of nowhere is impressive, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how long this Hardened Scales deck is going to last, though, because I think it has one really big... I think it's really easy to beat, because the reason I think that is that the Hardened Scales deck has a lot of counters.
It's just... I just look at this deck, and it's this is probably good enough to be the best aggro deck.
It has a lot of counters.
Did you get the joke?
It has a lot of counters.
Right,
I did get a lot
I was very concerned.
I was trying to get through it, but it's impossible if you don't help, Mengu. Thank
Karnies,
you.
I made a mess. I was, as we were recording, because you know how I never do only one thing, I was building a Pioneer deck, and a pile of cards fell down, and now I have a mess. But I'll carry through. As always.
The funny thing about that, Mango, is that's also how people build their Murktide decks, so it's fine.
But no, they just build it by net decking some decks that isn't mine somehow. That's how they build it. But if they would, they wouldn't be losing as much.
You probably built yours by knocking over a pile of cards. So, it's fine. It's all Alright, let's move on.
It's okay. Carry on, guys. Carry on while I pick up my cards.
We can also, I mean, there's something happened also in other format of the people, which is Legacy.
What?
Where
congratulations
from this
Javier.
Podcast, yay!
Congratulations, Javier, for top 8ing the Legacy Showcase.
Yay!
We won also for top 16ing the Pauper Showcase.
Yay! All the formats of the people. That was a great weekend.
How does Anthony feel about our co-host playing a Pauper tournament and doing well?
I'm okay with it because there isn't actually anything that he needs to prove. I only object to it when he has important things to do, Like, if he's playing like a Pauper Showcase like before the Pro Tour, it kind of tilts me. But right now there's quite a gap until there's anything that's important. So he has permission to go off on these recreational activities. It's 2023, I'm not gonna, what he does in his free time is up to him. I'm not gonna... Anyway.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah, I played the Pauper Showcase. I played Tony Ramirez's Gate deck to a 6 to finish.
Wait, what
I
was
didn't
the
love
deck
the
again?
deck,
What was
but,
the deck?
Naya Gates.
Okay.
Naya Gates.
Gates.
It was a fine deck. Like, it was very bad against combo, so I lost the 2 matches against combo where I felt like completely hopeless. I felt my deck was awful. But against every single other deck, my deck was just like very good. So I actually will say the deck is very strong if you expect not too much combo in your metagame. It felt great against like Mono Red, Affinity, all of these decks. So I mean, I just barely didn't test anything at all. Just asked for help and he helped me. But I mean, it was good. It wasn't 1 match away from top 8, so I cannot complain too much. And for Legacy, I played Angelo Cade, is his name, right? The Sky Control in Legacy. Yeah. I think control decks in Legacy are very delicate. So when I play one, it's like when I tried the Yancy one a few months ago, I just like to just copy it because I think sometimes you take out one big card or you put one more and then the deck suddenly doesn't work. So I just copied his deck. I only made like a small tweak in the mana base. And I just make topic with Jeskai Control. Not only like almost no win condition Jeskai Control. Like win conditions are 2 Emperors and 2 Shard Typhoon. But I have played Control in the past and so it was time to play again, I think. I didn't want to play Delver, because I think the metagame is a little bit like the deck is not as good as before, and the metagame is hard to read. So I just decided to play a deck with a lot of counterspells. And it was a good tournament. I started like 6-0, I think, and I sneaked in with 7-2 after losing to 2 lands. This deck was good. I had a lot of fun games. I lost some classic control games where you're supposed to win, but then you lose because you draw 4 lands in a row, whatever. But I don't know if I'm going to be playing this deck going forward. But at the very least, it was very functional. Like, it felt like the deck was well built. And I think that, I was like happy that I just got to net deck someone that understood their deck, so my deck will actually function in all the matchups. So that's what I have to say about this. It was a good tournament. I also qualified for the Legacy Showcase. I like the Showcase as much. I still have not played any of the mocks, which is something I keep trying. And last season I failed to qualify for the Showcase, so at least I have the Legacy one, which is the one, by the way, I have played the most times. But I'm happy about it. And it's after the PT, having another top in the next week makes me feel like, I'm still like, I'm on a lucky streak, if you know what I mean.
Although Anthony predicted that this weekend you would have said you'd never win a match, ever.
Yeah, Javier always feels like he hasn't won anything. So I was sure, Javier had just top 8 of the Pro Tour, and then I was sure that Javier was going to complain about how he was doing in the Showcase challenges. And true to form, he went like X2 and X3 and still complained along the way. So...
Yeah,
I know.
At some point, I was like, how are you doing, Javier? He goes, I'm also losing in the PTQ or whatever, he said. I don't know.
I busted the PTQ arena, which was the tournament I cared the most about, to be
complaining.
Fair. But no, I'm not complaining. I'm for real. I really put a lot of effort on these like arena tournaments, but I just couldn't make it happen. So I just, did fine in the Showcase, Pauper. But I think top 8 in the PT gives me a few months of not thinking like that, like
that's fair.
You're safe. I don't complain as much. I just like tried. I don't like when I don't play well. When I feel like I'm playing not like Sometimes you're playing a lot of tournaments at home. I'm sure some of the listeners will identify with this. Like sometimes you're playing a lot of tournaments, a lot of events, but you're not playing very well because in a way you don't get to focus too much. And when that happens, in my experience at least, you start losing focus, so you play worse, which eventually makes you lose more.
It snowballs,
like you play
right?
worse, but you play more tournaments and you lose more, and then you feel like, wow, I have busted like 20 tournaments in a row, and that's true. And that's something that I suffered in the past, and I think the way you cut it, you just have to play like the game super focused and you try to play the game. I tried this on Sunday because Saturday I was playing also the Arena PTQ, so it was like a little bit rougher. But like on Sunday for this Legacy deck, especially with like another reason to pick a deck like this was the matches will be so long. I will have to stay focused like for longer, so I will not lose the focus, like being on the computer or whatever. And I think that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to play Control, and I think it worked well for me, especially after having so much pressure on the PT or whatever. Sometimes it can be hard to maintain the pressure on yourself playing from the computer. I don't know if you guys also experienced this, but for me it was a little bit rough, like hard some of the times, and this time it was fine. I don't know if you ever experienced that kind of problems.
I'm not sure either of us plays enough online. I mean, I think I might start playing more online events soon because I've like moved my time zone around before, but before like time zones just made it impossible for me to actually play online tournaments. And Mengu is like a massive paper boomer, so he's obviously never turned on a computer in his life. So I think I don't know. I'm not sure either of us.
I wanted to make more. There was a time after I won the Legacy PTQ in December and I got the 10 leaderboard points. I was like, okay, I'm gonna play more. I'm gonna get more points and etc. But then the more I played and the more I like didn't win, and like I was staying at the computer for 10 hours. Sure, I was with Discord with some friends, but I don't know. I'm off it. I've had it, but I'm happy
I think Javier's right. You just have to break the cycle. Like if you break the cycle, then you can get back on track. But otherwise, yeah, you do.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, I mean it's very hard. But other than me topping the Legacy, which was cool, Initiative won the Showcase.
Yeah, Initiative
once
won.
Again, it's basically very similar to the wider the Initiative is for the bannings. It's like Initiative minus Adventurer, which is sick.
Yeah, minus
think about it,
minus the 3-mana Initiative card plus the 4-mana Initiative card.
Yeah,
and the deck
just
still
won
good?
the tournament. It just won the Showcase. Yeah, it's definitely good. Yeah, there was Rhinos in the top 8, which is like a new...
Yeah, Rhinos, I believe he beat you, right?
Yeah, he beat me easily. I got destroyed by Rhinos. Also Shadow deck. I don't know. Delver, again, not in the top 8.
There was not a single Delver in the top 24. The only one was like Guldukat, but he had the Knight's Whisper and Thoughtseize, which is like a different build.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
Shadow
Delver
deck,
is the Murktide of Legacy?
No one thinks like the Legacy now. Like it has no like Legacy is a wild west now. Like I'm actually super excited for the showcase because like what's the best deck in Legacy? Like we don't know. Like the metagame is super spread. Like it's very hard to know, you know, what's good, what's not good, what to play. The metagame is very I mean Reanimator is like the most played deck I think in the top, but a little bit only. Like there's a lot of different decks and there's a lot of others and there's a lot of decks which are like 2 copies or 1 copy in the top 32. It's very spread. And I think that I think Legacy is in a very good moment now because the community still has not figured out what's good.
Huh.
And it's only been 2 months already, right? Since the banning? I think 2 or 3 months maybe? I don't remember exactly, but it's been some weeks already. And if you look at the results of tournaments, challenges, even the showcase or whatever, it's like, yeah, I mean, there's like 7 decks every time. Like it just, every tournament's consistently like 6-7 decks. No. Remember when we had like 3 Delver for Initiative and 1 onliner? Not anymore, you know. I will say these bannings of Iteration and Adventurer, they did well to Legacy. That's my impression, and I don't know if you agree, Mengu, but I think that Legacy is in a good place right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you care about the it depends, right? Because the metagame doesn't always say the whole picture, but this time I think we kind of says that, and yeah, I would say that Legacy is in its place. Yeah.
Like you can play everything you want. Like you could play lands, Reanimator, Shadow, Control, whatever, you know, like 8 cast and Death and Taxes even. You know, a lot of decks you could play and they're gonna be fine because there's no deck like having like a huge share of the metagame by just being the best deck by a lot. It will change, you know, enough weeks will make some decks to be on top, but that's a fun fact, by the way. My 2 first rounds of the tournament were against Cephalic Breakfast.
Ooh, must be nice to play against Cephalic Breakfast.
I actually kind of like playing against that deck because I feel like I know how to play against it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, sometimes I make mistakes, but
speaking of Legacy, Javier will be the Legacy seat in our team event at Four Season.
Oh.
Yay!
Yeah,
that's Legacy.
I will be the vintage seat. More.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan, but I guess somebody has to take that. Yeah,
you get to play with old cards, Mango. You like old cards.
Yes.
Yes. But my opponents will play Bazaar, and I will not like my 20 minutes time or workshop.
That's okay, because
me, you know.
That just gives you more time to watch Javier play Legacy. You know, a lot of people would pay money to get to watch Javier play Legacy. You know that, right?
No, I'd rather go watch Alfred play Modern, so that you know we are. No, it's okay. Alfred. Yeah,
it's all upsides. Alfred. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, so there's 2 things about like we could talk about all the formats, but so this is probably the last time we talk about Pioneer, right?
Hold on. When you say last time, you mean? It is forever. You know, for a little while we won't talk about Pioneer.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about Pioneer. Yeah, true. We don't talk about Pioneer because the Athens happening is happening.
Right.
Yeah. First, we're gonna go to Valencia, both me and you, Ray.
Yeah, I think I'm finally going. I will, you know, make a final call, but yeah, I'm probably going there. You know, it's a land of the paella, so I might
go. That's for the LMS. What format is that?
The weekend, the weekend of 25th of May. Yeah. And then
what format is that? Sorry.
It's Pioneer.
That's Pioneer on Saturday, and if you don't make day 2, there is the classic on Sunday. It's gonna be Modern. So finally, I can prove the world that Murktide is good. It's my chance.
Oh, the best deck ever.
One chance, one opportunity.
Okay. I have an entire week of different ways to think of ways to say I told you so. So, you know, don't worry. I'm on top of it.
It's okay, Anthony.
One more thing, standard. Also, Anthony said it before, but we have like our teammates are competing in the arena tournament, so we're not going to do a breakdown of the standard post PT because you know it might affect their you know what it is, the tournament.
The Arena,
You know
Arena
what it
Championship
is.
3 is coming up.
Yeah, just the words didn't flow, but
Although I
the
will
concept's
tell
sad, like,
for the listeners as well. Normally we would stop talking completely about a format leading up to the Pro Tour, but I think there are enough people who just love Modern so much that we probably can't just can it. So maybe me and Javier will talk less about Modern leading up to the Pro Tour, Lord of the Rings, but we'll let Mengu cover the news. And
all of
share
a sudden
his takes
in
on Modern.
the whole month of July, Murkta will be the best deck according to the Karnies podcast. And nobody can.
Let me think about
Mengu's
this
gonna
one.
contact Fire Shoes so he can Photoshop the imagine if Fire Shoes. By the way, shout out to Fire Shoes. I talked with him again in the PT Minneapolis. He's a very very kind person. I love to be.
He's
Javier,
the way that the youth call it is good vibes. So
Yeah, no, exactly
Fire Shoes
vibes. Like
good
he's just great vibes. You see the man there, and he's just like loving being there. Like he's just there in the scorekeeper place, and he's like just like enjoying the time just being there and scorekeeping, and there's that kind of vibes. They're contagious, and I love that.
It's great.
So that like Fire Shoes could just Photoshop his spots for the week and just put a lot of Murktide.
A lot of Murktide with
so Mengu goes, so Mengu goes, and there's like 5 copies in challenge from his deck list from last week or something.
Yeah,
I would love if he
takes the Friday deck list. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just puts like a lot of Fire Shoes. If you ever listening to this, just please, that's if you ever do this, like maybe 4 Martes in the top 8, whatever, just put fake for 1 week. I think Mengu would love it so much.
So
at least I personally would love it.
Stuff I've heard so much about. I see.
It's a prank, right? That's the name.
Like a joke. I don't know. I'm not familiar with
it's
pranks.
A prank.
So
yeah.
So this weekend,
that's what I want to have like from.
Also, this weekend, both me and Anthony will grind the G-Truck Monster and Thalia's.
Oh, yes,
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
what's that? It's like a promo, like
it's a promo that's like $100 in America, I think.
Wait,
that's
it is
a lot of dollars.
I mean,
no one told me that. I just saw there was a tournament that was drafted. I really enjoyed the draft.
MTG Finance.
What? No one told me that. This is ridiculous.
When I hear some perfect Mengu Finance from the Pro Tour, and even if you don't, I will tell you regardless.
Yes, absolutely. I do. Yeah.
Round 1 of the tournament, I received my Jace, my promo Jace. For those of you who don't know, at the PT in Philadelphia, I was bought by the vendors for $500, I believe. But then, like, the same exact Jace was given, right? And I reached a table where people were, there was some vendors, and the first vendor I go to, he goes, "You have the Jace?" And I goes, "Yes." And he goes, "I'll offer you $250. And I go, "Sure." And I sell it. And then every other person I talked after sold it for way more than $250. So that's the Mengu Finance of Pro Tour Philadelphia.
I mean, it's not Philadelphia.
Sorry, Minneapolis. Yes.
2, it's
Mengu Finance.
It happens, that's
okay.
That's something. Gosh.
I mean, $250 is a lot of money.
I'm amazed. I mean, $250, that's apparently like 2.5 Gitrog monsters or whatever.
Not too far away from the playset.
I'm sure that the price will go down, but anyway, I will go to at least one draft that awards the Gitrog monster, and probably also another one. So I hope I can avoid drafting white and red and get my Gitrog monster.
Yeah, is that your advice? Right. Well, now I might actually. I just wanted to do it because I enjoyed the March of the Machine draft format so much. Like Javier could tell as well, like in the in-house draft.
Yeah, like how wrong. Well, I was personally super wrong, and I think you were wrong a little bit in that too.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
no, I was very wrong.
Good.
No, more than a little bit.
Yeah, I was very wrong as well. I thought the format was bad. Like it's all about the bombs, whatever. It's not that true. I'm actually I did the draft the other day for fun, which is something you should do now.
That was my plan, and now Mengu told me it's not for fun. Thanks for ruining my day, Mengu. It's
I'm also doing a draft tomorrow for fun. Not today, actually. Yeah, so
me too.
It's
it's great.
So good job. I mean, I'm still gonna blame Italy for showing up in my first 5 matches or whatever. Yes. But it's good. Yeah, I mean, I was wrong, and now I drafted in more. I mean, I don't think white and red are that bad. I think they're worse, but there are decks that can throw a pot with those colors. So I think
red can't be that bad. Italy's red. So
if you're considering drafting a little bit or whatever, or picking a format to learn how to draft, I think this format is very complete because it makes you try to go find the lanes in drafts. Like, this is not like Ravnica drafts where you have like 3 decks or 4 decks. There's a format where you have like a blue-red deck that's a little bit different than the other blue-red deck, and sometimes you have to find your lane. And because of that, I think it's a good draft to try to improve your drafting skills.
Yeah, it just forces you into lots of different situations as well. Like the Multiverse Legends slot actually made draft, actually contributed quite a lot to the texture of the format, I think. So I don't know.
I like that. That's a lot. That's good. I also didn't like it before because then again, the third day I was on the draw and we went Mountain Ragavan and it was like, this is I don't like that.
Yeah,
but overall, having this Multiverse Legends, it just gives a lot of new dimension, for a lot of archetypes, or even they're unique, right? So they're unique cards often that just enable draft archetypes, but they are kind of rare in a way, right? So
yeah, I totally agree, Javi. If I was playing a format and then I was on the draw and my opponent went 2-1 Ragavan, I would hate that format. I would just complain about it forever. I strongly agree with you in this regard.
Well, the deck is not even good. It doesn't top 8 at all. Actually, it won in Rakdos Cam. That's a better Ragavan deck, everyone.
It is the best Ragavan deck right now.
You should play that deck. You shouldn't play Markside.
Yeah.
Nobody should.
But imagine just Friday Scam. It doesn't sound good, so you should not play Scam.
It does sound like it would be.
Yeah, Friday Market sounds much better. That's a good reason to play a modern deck, yeah. So I want to be clear, I recommend this format. You should probably try it if you haven't before.
March of the Machine, great format. And apparently you can win expensive promos that no one knows is
also
expensive.
Also that, $100, MTG Finance.
That I wonder who's going to buy, but whatever, people buy everything these days.
They really do. Yeah.
They do.
I mean, someone is buying them. If you can vendor these Jaces for $400, someone is buying them for more than that. I just don't know who. But, it's not my job to know who. It's the vendors.
I think they're cool cards. I think that there's kind of a cosmetic, exclusive cards is a good way to.
For sure.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't. It takes out pressure out of the normal cards. To have these spots in the food chain or whatever. We will not have that many staples that are that expensive for that reason.
The way I see it, the people who buy these fancy cards, they subsidize the people like us who don't care about fancy cards. So I'm very grateful for them. Unironically,
exactly. I think that's the case. Yeah. Also, it's an option. It's not like you need to buy them to play, but if you want this exclusive cool card, you can. So it's kind of good. Yeah, it's great. I think that's All right. Do we have anything else on the I was on the same script
on the agenda?
On the agenda, anything.
Actually, yes. I have something on the script. Okay. Is that I have to thank the new Patreon. We were supposed to say that at the beginning, but I guess better late than ever.
We got sidetracked.
You never know when it's coming. It could be the beginning, could be the end.
That way everyone has to listen the whole way. Yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. If you're a patron, a fresh new patron, and want to hear your name shouted out, you must listen to the whole episode.
I mean, they probably do anyway.
It depends on the day.
They care enough to support us, which we're very grateful for. But they were probably going to listen to everything anyway. But yes, get to it.
Brian and Alex, you guys are great. Thank you all for supporting, joining the podcast, where you're just free to share whatever you want to share with us. We're going to be there commenting. I want to actually thank Javier. I believe you are the fastest one to respond anytime somebody posts something in the Discord.
I spend a lot of time on the computer, so maybe I am. I just have the notifications on the computer. So sometimes if I'm around, it doesn't hurt to answer. We have one question today. I'm going to talk about this because it's brief, but we have a player that was playing Pioneer and was playing Rakdos and asked me about the mirror matches because they were winning a lot and then they were losing more recently. If you guys are playing, just keep in mind that every one of us, myself, but also Mengu or Anthony, whatever, we get streaks where we lose a lot, even weeks or even months. So if you ever, feel yourself into that situation and you're playing a lot but losing a lot, just keep it up because it happens to all of us. That's it.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of advice
we
for
just
sure.
Don't talk about it as much. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it happens to everybody, but people are more likely to talk about their winning streaks than the losing streaks. So, Yeah,
exactly. The
good to
classic
know
you're
that.
on the Arena Open day, whatever.
Yeah,
PTQ,
yeah.
and you see everyone making it too, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, I just cannot win a match. I'm the worst player ever. Do I even know how to play Magic? You know, you get this kind of thoughts. No, that's, this happens to all of us every time.
I saw that there's one player, I believe his name is Jacob, and he went on a 30-0 streak in Vintage Cube. He posted the screens of the 10 trophies in a row. That is unbelievable.
He's a strong player. I was in the same. We were in the testing server together for the RC that just went past, and I was very impressed by him. I didn't know he went 30-0 though. That's tough.
That's tough.
Actually, yeah. I now checking his Twitter. He went 35. 35. He kept on going for 5 more. Yeah,
that's just I mean,
35 wins in a row in Vintage Cube. I can't even imagine it. When I saw it, unreal. I was like, what? And speaking of Cube, this weekend there's the mocks. I have my friend True Hero competing. I've had I've done some Cube with him. Wish the best of luck. Do you guys have any friend competing?
Yeah, Carl Sharp is competing, so our best wishes to him, and hopefully he crushes your friend and all of the other people that are neither of our friends.
Yeah, I also have Bernas as a friend.
Oh right, there's Bernas. True.
Bernas Torres from the leaderboard. Yeah, but I want to see the tournament because there's a lot of good players, and I hope they feature Carl on the draft so we can see actually all he's doing because
you want to watch that. You want to watch that for sure.
I do, yeah, exactly. Yes. So I'm definitely going to tune in.
I'm saying to the viewers, you want to watch that. If you can watch Carl draft, you should.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see how it goes because I think I'm watching most of these mocks. I think they're very good to watch, and I mean we'll see. But I'm gonna try to watch as much as I can and definitely root for my friends if possible.
I'll be busy winning a Gitrog Monster in Thalia.
All right. Well, good luck to Carl and good luck to Mengu.
Yes, we playing a similarly staked tournament.
Yes.
Okay, guys, it's time to wrap it up. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening, and it's good to have Anthony back. We hope he doesn't, put himself into a ship for 1 month again. So
I don't know.
Cheers.
I live in Australia, so it's
for at least 2 months, you will be around, right?
What?
No, maybe not at least, but almost 2 months you'll be around for the podcasts.
I should hope so.
You never know with Anthony.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.